call the meeting to order then. Oh, Karen, would you like to lead some prayer? Oh, you can. No, I'll be glad to, if you don't want to. No, go ahead. Okay. I'll be glad. Okay. All right. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to come together today. Please give us the wisdom to represent the people of the county in the best way possible. Thank you for the many benefits that you give us every day in life, Lord. But more than anything, thank you for the salvation you provided for us. In God's name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, public comment, but we don't have any public, so I don't guess we'll have any of that. So I guess we'll turn it over to Christopher.
Right, the
Christopher will talk loud because I don't hear well.
first item on the agenda tonight is for 400 Maddox Road. Project is referred to as Rockdale Tow 1. This is a request for an additional 28 SFUs. Barge Civil and Associates is requesting 28 SFUs of sewage flow per day, or up to 9,800 gallons per day, and reservation to increase their capacity from 7 SFUs to 35 SFUs for the tenant they have occupying the building. The property is referenced as map 138, parcel 41.10, which contains approximately 52.09 acres located at 400 Maddox Road. The property is currently owned by First Industrial LP. Staff has been in contact with the City of Lebanon officials to discuss this proposal with them. The city has completed their review, and the fee calculation and fee letter to the developer from the city is attached in your packet. All sewer access fees payable to the county for each proposed project will become due prior to the issuance of a final approval for a specific site plan and its related capacity commitment. There is a 10% reservation fee that is due within 30 days of this approval that is a non-refundable if capacity is not used within 2 years. The committee previously reached an agreement that the standard timeline policy should be put into place for each of these sewer access reservation commitments that are approved. As such, staff's understanding of this commitment is that any approval of the sewer reservation will be for a period of 2 years with an extension of an additional 2-year reservation with presentation and approval of each site plan for the property in question. The breakdown of sewer payment, this is going to be on the Couchville Pike segment. We currently have 223.43 SFUs of capacity remaining. This request is for 28. The remaining unreserved capacity, if this case is approved, is 195.43 SFUs. The 7 SFUs this applicant, this was approved originally in 2022 is when they had requested this. Now they have a tenant in the building that is needing additional capacity, so that's the request for the additional. The total payment due to the county if fully built out will be $560,000. $56,000 in reservation fee will be due within 30 days of approval.
Okay. I need to stop you right there, and I apologize, Christopher. We got a set of minutes we need to approve.
Okay.
Motion. Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. So that approves our minutes. Now, back to this.
All right.
Okay, now let me understand correctly. This is an existing building.
It's already built, yes, sir.
Okay. And their tenant is requiring more sewer capacity, an additional 28.
Additional 28 SFUs.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Why? What do they do in there?
I'm gonna have to let Suzanne answer that question. What are you doing in the building, do you know?
You know what the new tenant does?
It's Schneider Electric, so it's more of a manufacturing process, but also the original warehouse was planned for 100 employees, and then they're proposing 500 employees, as well as a kitchen to serve those employees.
Suzanne, what is your timeline for them to occupy the building?
I know that the architect is working on interior build out, and I believe that the intent would be as soon as possible.
Okay. Do we want to grant this? And this may not be possible, Mike. You'll have to answer this. But instead of granting them 2 years, can we, because we're basing this on the tenant in this case. Can we base this on a timeline of when the tenant occupies the building?
Start the 2 years when they occupy the building?
No. In other words, if Snyder Electric doesn't occupy the building, they're not entitled to the SFUs.
I think you could do that, yes.
Because we're basing it on that, on an existing
right.
building.
Yeah.
It's not like a reservation, so you would build a building.
Right.
So if you did that, they would still be required the earnest money or the reservation
Yes.
fee.
Yes.
But if Snyder decided to not occupy it, they'd be out that money. I just need to know if that's a.
This is sort of new ground for us
It
right
is.
here.
You
I
could-
just hate to obligate that many SFUs, because we're really working on them out there.
Yeah.
And then, have a need for them somewhere else in the future, I mean, but I hate to you hate to charge people for something they don't actually wind up receiving.
And they don't really have control over that as to whether, I don't think, I mean, I don't know what their deal is, but I guess you can make it, what you were talking about, Tommy, and make it with the understanding, if they don't do what say they're gonna do, that we can refund them the money or a portion of the money or something.
Well, I don't know, what's your thoughts, Tom?
Well, I mean, when do you anticipate them occupying?
I do not have a specific date for that. I think part of it depends on when fire marshal reviews the plans and how quickly the interior construction can happen. But my understanding is it's fairly soon.
So within 2 years?
Yes.
So what's the difference if we give them the 2-year reservation and they pay
Because
within
if they
the?
don't, they have an additional, can get an additional 2 years, correct?
They have to come back
They have to
here
come
and
back here and get it. And they would have to pay the 10% within 30 days. So it's $560,000 for the 28 SFUs. They'd have to pay $56,000 to us after this approval. Within 30 days of this approval. The way you have it set up now.
I met with them last month with Corey Johns, and he said less than a year.
And you also said that was non-refundable, correct?
Correct.
That'll be subtracted from your overall payment if you end up purchasing it, but it's a non-refundable reservation.
Okay.
Man, I'll be honest, I feel like we're doing them a courtesy by, price staying, we'd rather increase rates like last time we met. And, if this project doesn't go through as proposed, I think the new rate should come into place, what I'm thinking about, I'm gonna be honest.
So Suzanne, are you familiar with what he's referring to there? Last month, this board opted to increase the price to $30,000 per SFU from $20,000.
Okay.
And right now, because you already made application, we're honoring the $20,000 per SFU fee. But if they do not get their reservation paid for within 2 years, they would be subject when they came back to that either that $30,000 fee or whatever the fee is at that time.
Understood.
Well, entertain a motion.
It's an existing building that we're getting a tenant in. So I don't really think that it's a bad thing to do. Particularly given that you have safeguards against them holding on to it forever. They've got to come back here.
Question before anybody makes a motion, did that qualify for coming for remodeling permits or whatever?
No, I don't think I think they predate that.
Because they'd already started the remodeling before that.
I think so.
So how long has the remodeling been been going on here? When do they start the build out of the interior?
I do not know. I was just recently contacted to participate in the tenant process, so I wasn't involved whenever they started the interior, so I don't have an exact date.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve their request.
We have a motion, second.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Alright, Suzanne, I will send you an approval letter with the timeline of when that needs to be paid, tomorrow.
Okay.
You're welcome to stick around for the rest of the meeting, I guess, if you wanna hear it, but otherwise, we're finished with your portion.
Okay, and thank you for meeting remotely with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You have a good afternoon. Evening.
All right, so
Alright, the next item, are you ready to proceed? The next item on the agenda, which you all have at the back of your agenda, the complete portion of the sewer access guidelines. It's a discussion of amending the bylaws with the emphasis on the following paragraphs. I guess at this point you can amend any of the paragraphs, but I've outlined the two in question that I felt like were the most pertinent to our discussions last month. It's section 3, paragraph C, and that is the makeup of the committee. And then section 4, paragraph B, which is the fee process for the committee. The end of your regular, staff recommendations. And I've had some discussion with the mayor on the makeup regarding paragraph C. Section 4, paragraph B is mostly just administrative work, but since we're in here, I was gonna clean it up. But possible recommendations for voting members would be a JECDB representative, industrial development board member, which I forgot my little book that told me all the members on that, or the finance director or an appointee from that department. This would be replacing these recommendations based on the discussions I've had, would be replacing the county building inspector. And the reasoning behind that is, at the time it was the chief building inspector, that person would have been Chris Richardson. Karen got put into that position when she was still in the building inspector umbrella. She is now over zoning, so I'm not even 100% sure if she still qualifies to meet the intent of that. But that is a reasoning for another voting member. And then I can go into the next paragraph if you want, or if you want to do them separate.
That next paragraph, Christopher, is supposed to be section 5, I believe, paragraph B. It was in
Did I
there.
get them backwards?
It was in the very last page, I think.
It says section, oh, it is section 5.
Section 4 right there, right?
Yeah, there's 2 fours.
Got 2 fours.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't write them. I was just.
I didn't tell me, I got the one that's right.
How'd you get the right one?
You got the right one, baby?
Okay, so it needs to be amended to section 5. Okay.
I guess we need to break this down and discuss the first part of it about the committee. There was, I will say this, I've talked to one or two that was actually involved with this when it was done, and there were several considerations for why it was set up this way, and one of the biggest and foremost reasons was we would have people in that portion of the county representing what was gonna happen in that portion of the county, of course. So that explains why the 3 commission districts are represented, and of course, the county planner. Is there another committee of anywhere the director actually votes like that?
Not that I'm aware of.
I know, and the reason I say that, Tom has numerous times said he felt like he was sort of on the fence, he didn't know.
I've appreciated him being a staff member here to give the comments, because gets me out of that.
The closest example that I can have to answering your question is the judicial committee, which I've had to go around and talk to people about this, but John Gentry makes, the motion to hire in a new
Judicial commissioner.
judicial commissioner, and then typically we'll make the
Turns
motion
around
to
and votes
approve
on
it.
it.
That's the closest thing I can think
Well,
of.
Typically, you will, what would you say?
John Gentry will make the recommendation to hire a new judicial
Mm-hmm.
committee, and he will typically make the motion to approve that after his recommendation.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's how it goes every time, but that's the closest thing I can think of to your question.
I don't know that that really applies in this case, I don't know, we, I don't really know how to. I'd love to see Tom, if he's willing to stay involved with this because of his expertise and previous knowledge of everything.
I don't know if I've got much expertise, but I will tell you, I've never seen a committee like this one before, and I don't think Mike would say he's seen one like it either.
I thought when we set it up, I think I commented that, you know, you were gonna be given a recommendation and voting on it.
Yeah.
If you were in favor of that, I'd be happy if I was making that application. But we did need the input. And it was a new expense for all of us.
This committee's very unique, there's no doubt about it, but I
Yes.
think at the same time, I think it's, probably one of the smartest moves the county's ever made, in my opinion.
Do-
It gives the ability to protect the community down there.
Any easy questions?
Y'all done a good job
I read my three.
drawing the string pretty tight around
What
it.
are they?
JCDB, Industrial Development Board member, and Finance Director appointee.
The
Any,
problem that I have with those, Rick Whisper, is that keeping with the spirit of the committee itself,
Mhm.
trying to keep it being represented by people from the area.
gotcha.
What about a ex officio seat, Mr. Tom?
I'm fine doing that if you
You
want.
wouldn't have a vote, but I
No.
would love to have you still on the committee,
That's,
and that would keep us from having to mess with
that's fine
the
with me.
numbers.
You know, if y'all,
But we
All my
could, if we
assistants
did
on it.
one, we'd have to do two, because then we'd have
That's-
8
yeah.
votes.
That's possible. The other thing you could do, I thought about this a little bit today too, is one of those on there says county planner, I think, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
You could change it to say county planner or his designee, or in that way, the county planner could appoint somebody, appoint Tom if he wanted to. The other thing is the mayor always has the authority to appoint somebody to act for him. And he's not been doing that on this committee, but he can.
Well, I don't know if that will happen or not, but,
so, but the three suggestions you had were from one spot to take the building inspector's place, right?
Yes. And the reasoning behind that is, no offense to Karen or anything, I'm not sure she technically qualifies under the building inspector umbrella anymore. And then Chris Richardson, back when Karen came on, he had made clear to me that he didn't have a lot of interest in this
well, he
particular
made it clear
board.
because he didn't show up, that's why we asked for Karen. Cause we knew she would, come and, pay attention to what was going on.
So we're talking about 2 seats, or we're talking about
There's
modifying
two
the
different
county
ones,
planner
really,
and building inspector?
He has suggestions for replacement in Karen's position. And then the other one is just whether or not y'all want me as ex officio or.
Karen,
voting
are
or
you
whatever.
happy serving on this board?
I'm happy serving on the board. I just told Christopher it didn't hurt my feelings any if there was somebody better suited to serve.
I think you're very well suited,
So-
myself.
But I just told Christopher, he was just worried about the,
Well,
falling
I mean,
under
I
the
seen-
building
after I read
inspector, and
that,
I'm
I
not
thought the
under that
same thing.
anymore.
But I assume that,
I'm happy to serve, but if there's somebody better suited to serve, then it's not gonna hurt my feelings any.
what kind of title can you come up with for a generic, anybody within what we referred to, or originally referred to as the planning department? Cause building inspector and codes and all was under it at that time. And that way, at any point in time, we could take somebody from those different departments.
When Tom was put on here, he was the county planner, that was his title. So now he's the codes director.
Actually, Development Services Director,
You're what?
Development Services Director.
You done got really development, well, we could make it the development services director.
We don't have one anymore.
That position's.
But
We ain't got one, you just told me you were in.
Yeah, I am for 20 more days, and then,
but it's
then it
gonna be,
gets put in cold storage.
but it's gonna be split up again back where we have a
Right.
building inspector, a codes inspector, and a county planner, correct? Am I
Yes.
correct?
More or less, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're on
I haven't
directives.
heard that, so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that doesn't mean anything, it's
Yeah.
all news to me. So, who do you want on there, Tom? I mean, what position do
We
you want?
want Karen to stay. How do you make that
So
happen?
what's your position gonna be? What's your title? You got one like Tom,
Yeah,
that
it's
long?
Chief Zoning Administrator.
Change the building inspector to the chief.
No, mine's not as long as Tom's.
Chief zoning administrator?
Well, the only I'm asking you this question. Of course, we want Karen, but say Karen retires in 5 years. Do we want to keep changing titles? Is that appropriate? If you tell me it's appropriate, I'm happy with it.
It's Tom, who knows in 5 years?
Well, and
If she was gonna retire next month after Tom, I'd say, we need to do something else. But I think it'd be okay to say chief zoning administrator,
Right.
as long as she don't go and change her title.
I don't think
Are
the
they-
title's gonna change.
are they appointed by the, if you made them generic, as appointed or recommended, one or the other by the mayor or the county commission, would that work?
Let's see.
I don't know about that. Like I said, I'd love for this board to be able to keep, I hate to use the word control, but this board oversees what's going on down there in a big way. People don't realize it. It's not something we have to utilize, but if it come down to it, it's here and that's what it was set up for more so than any other reason.
All right, the way this original, we're calling them bylaws, I think the title of it was guidelines, but either way, we know what we're talking about. There were 6 members set up. Only one is appointed by the county mayor, and that's the member at large, that's Mr. Ray. Then county executive, that, we ought to change that to county mayor, county planner, county building inspector, and then 3 commissioners from the planned growth area, so you don't need to tinker with that. But I would say change the county executive to county mayor, and then whatever titles you want for these other 2, and do it all at one time.
And this will have to go to county commission
Yes,
Yeah, anytime you
when you
change.
change the bylaws.
So we're gonna say county zoning inspector.
It wouldn't be the
I would
zoning
just-
inspector
I
though.
would do
Yeah.
the county zoning administrator.
County zoning administrator.
Okay. Now, what about Haskell's recommendation of an ex officio member, and Tom would fit that to a T in my eyes, because that's what an ex officio does, is provide knowledge and insight, correct?
Yeah,
You could term it as an advisory role to the planning director, or whatever, the county planner, an advisory role for the county planner, he can, I mean, that might be giving them more power than what you want, I don't,
But ex officio is the correct term, what we're looking
You
for.
could do it.
they're basically a non-voting member, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
ex officio is a non-voting member.
Yeah.
But you're entitled to all participation other than voting.
Sure.
I had some great arguments, I'll give you a little history, I had some great arguments years ago with George Harding, cause he was ex officio on a lot of things that he insisted he could vote.
Mhm.
And, if George couldn't get appointed another way, he'd find a way to be ex officio. I don't speak ill of the dead, because George and I got along great, we just argued a lot, it was necessary. That doesn't amount to anything other than I have some experience with that, and you need to think about how you're gonna appoint that person. What if Tom decides 6 months from now he doesn't wanna do it anymore? How we gonna do that?
Well,
What's
You
what?
could say an ex officio member determined to have expertise in water or sewer or planning.
Or we could just say Tom Brashear is ex officio member, and if you quit, we don't have one.
Yeah.
That'd be exactly what we need to do,
All right.
cause let's be honest, if it wasn't for wanting to keep Tom involved with this, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence.
You think we've done you a favor?
Not probably not.
Um, I mean, I think we definitely need to keep our county planner involved.
You might change that to county planning director. Cause that would be,
So we're gonna take the other position, it's county planner, to make it county planning.
planning director. And I don't really have a problem with or their appointee. But that's just me thinking out loud. And the same thing for her position, that way if she's got strep throat or something, send somebody else.
Well, no, she can't, or the planning director can't, well, those are from positions.
So I was saying, if you put or their appointee,
The appointee would be to
designated.
take their place. It would be, they can't rotate back and forth.
oh, so they couldn't do a,
Yeah, if the mayor appointed somebody,
Mayor's the only
he's
one
on the
can do
committee.
that. He can send somebody in,
in his
For this
place.
meeting,
I got
yeah.
you, okay.
but they can't both come and vote.
So the one member at large is Mr. Ray, correct?
Yeah,
It is. So what I've got now is change the county executive to county mayor, change the building inspector to county zoning administrator, add Tom Brashear as ex officio member, and change the county planner to county planning director. Did I get that
I
right?
think that's right.
And you can revisit it if you need to.
Well, I think Haskell's got a good idea about keeping this thing pretty concise. and
Sure.
Not spreading it out over the county. So while it affects the county, it doesn't affect anybody like it does you.
So I guess we need a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
How you gonna do the wording on that?
That's why I
He
said
just,
to that
he just
effect,
worded it.
what you said.
I'll second it, that, whatever you said.
Okay,
I started thinking, how you gonna motion that?
Cause I gotta put it in the resolution too.
He made a
I'm putting it
motion, I'll
down.
That's
second
where
it.
you, that's where you put
However
your
you
faith
wanna
in the
write it.
This
county
is the
attorney.
motion to recommend to the county commission.
I think that sounds great.
was that a second?
Yeah, that was a
So,
second.
got a motion-
Whatever y'all wanna write,
got
I'll
a
second.
motion, a second, any further
I
discussion?
was thinking, how you gonna word that?
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Uh-huh.
All opposed, like sign. Ayes have it.
Alright, the next paragraph is section 5, paragraph B. In your comments, the black wording is the same as it was, the red wording is what has been changed in that particular paragraph. And this
I don't
is
see Ray's.
on recommendation.
Oh, sorry.
And then when I started amending the bylaws was where I don't have multiple.
And that does have to go to county commission.
Yes.
And it's a sewer
Right.
connection.
We talked about it last time.
Okay, I guess, go ahead, I don't want to interrupt
It's
Chris.
a sewer connection fee as required by paragraph 15, section F of the intergovernmental agreement in the amount of $30,000. That's the part that's being amended, and then it's per single family unit. And then I added in there with a reservation fee of 10% of the total request to be paid 30 days after approval. This shall be paid to the county prior to final approval of any site plan.
That should probably say, should be paid within 30 days of approval.
Yes,
Wait, say that again. Total request.
Within, that should be paid within 30 days.
After approval.
within 30 days of approval.
Oh.
Let's take after,
Didn't y'all approve this last time? The only thing you did different was,
We didn't amend
Changed
the
dollar
bylaw.
around that dollar.
we didn't amend it via the county commission.
we voted to increase the rate.
We did,
20,000 to 30,000.
we did.
Well, there's
I mean, you voted on it again, but
we increased.
We're just trying to get the bylaws right, but it also has to, does the rate increase have to go to the county commission?
yes.
Okay.
It's part of the bylaw.
Okay.
I wasn't sure about that last time. I don't think any of us were.
Well, that was fixing to be my question.
Then Danielle go back and pull all this stuff. So we could look at it.
So I guess we need another motion, put that into words like you want, Christopher.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I can send Mike this paragraph with the, okay. Mike's got it.
Now, I will ask this, in the bylaws, and I don't see it here, but does it state that it's a 2-year reservation now?
None of that reservation, I don't believe, I mean, I read through
It does
it
not.
twice, it doesn't
Should we
state
go
a
on and
reservation.
put that in there, Mike?
The last thing I've got in the bylaws was just a $5,000 SFU. There's somewhere.
You wanna add a,
You wanna add that 2-year reservation, and now it's
That's
probably time
staff
to do it.
comments. That's,
It's not-
that's what I'm asking, if we're gonna change the bylaws, do we need to make sure we put the 2-year reservation in at the same time?
Yeah.
That way there
Be a
won't
good
be,
idea.
that would need to be section 5, paragraph C, most likely?
No, I just added it right there.
Do I need to motion to amend,
Oh, okay.
motion to amend to add that, or? do you need to-
Just make a motion to approve everything y'all said, and I'll put, and then I'll send it to y'all when I draft it, so we can make sure we're all in the same thing.
Motion to approve, as amended.
Second.
a motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, like sign? Ayes have it.
Yeah, I'll send that to you when I draft it, make sure you can get rid of it.
I won't be able to look at it until next week. I won't be able to look at it until next week.
Well, it's gotta go out and pack it next Tuesday, if that's all right. Okay, I'll send it out if you don't like it. Seriously, I'm not being smart at it. If you don't like it, what you look at, you can grade it that night.
The only last things I have for you, point of discussion with this approval, again, the Couchville interchange has 195.43. That is back up because the Wilson Business Center, which was before you, which is the Lanham property on Lone Oak Road. Their reservation of 23 SFUs, they did not pay that reservation fee, so those SFUs have been put back into the remaining capacity. So that now leaves your Couchville Pike at 195.43. Stewart's Ferry Pike is at 457.49. The total amount in the reserve fund, which that's where the increase in cost has went, is $1,040,805.
See that number again, Christopher?
$1,040,805 is what is in the reserve fund since the increase from 5 to 20,000.
1,040,800 and
805.
That sounds like a lot of money, but if you were to do something with it, it would go far, would it, Tom?
no. Not to all that rock.
That's added back to Council Pike, so what you said. Yeah, okay.
But they will be coming at some point again, there's no question about that.
I'm sure they will. Yes.
Yeah.
Cost you $10,000 more.
I apologize, but
Well, one thing,
we had that discussion
Yeah.
very much with him that
What-
night up here.
one thing that I would point out that has to do a little bit with the land use plan, the current land use plan and the new one. The majority of what you have left in capacity is at Stewart's Ferry. And what we've always envisioned at that interchange is retail. Whether it be a restaurant or whether it be a grocery store or whether it be a gas station and a hotel. But the thing about retail is it's a much higher water consumption type aspect, so it's probably good that the remainder of what you've got on sewer capacity on the current line is up there.
So
Now, the
we're
pump-
not be moving like we did with the Roberts
Right.
property is what you're trying to say.
Yes, but the pump station is a problem, from what I understand from Lebanon. So, I don't,
That, they've been doing a lot of updating on it right now, I don't know what that amounts to as far as that conversation.
I don't either.
Anything else, Christopher?
That is it from me. I can field any questions you may have, but that's all I have for you tonight.
Any new business? No old business? Need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.